I had to keep reinforcing the fact that you can have your Prabhas and Prithvi, but you have me as well. I'm equally important, if not more. Prashanth has a habit of writing dialogues on the set. That was the worst. I wanted to murder him every time he does that. Having a very confident and a secure man, elevating a woman on set is the new age forward, I feel. You know, some people say, "Ninga pesra Tamil auto rickshaw driver pesra Tamil maadhiri." Because my driver, he was the only one who used to talk to me in Tamil. I said, "Ellarme thitranga ninga kattu kudutha Tamil da na pesra ippo." So he's like, "Illa ma, adu correct Tamil da."
Hey Shriya.
Hey Vishal.
Welcome to FC South.
Thank you.
Let me begin by asking you a question about the impact of Salaar. Okay, so we are familiar with you for, about 20 years.
Yeah.
We know your work. We've seen your movies in Malayalam, Telugu, Tamil, everything.
Yeah.
But Salaar must have been something else, right? Of course, you do it because it's probably like a Telugu film, but the reach must have been crazy. And even if you ask us, like an interview we did with you, the comments are all coming from countries I haven't even heard of.
Really?
Yeah. So like, people are huge fans of yours after Salaar. So what has your side been after the impact of that character?
And surprisingly, Vishal, you mentioned this, you asked me this question because apart from, I would expect people from Tamil Nadu and Andhra to actually appreciate and like your work. But it was people from the north, people like you said, from Pakistan, from all sorts of different parts of the world where they've appreciated this character. And the kind of appreciation I've been getting from the north is phenomenal. Like every person, it seems like that all the people who are into cinema, like your top actors and directors, have all watched the film on the first day, first show. And so the moment they don't know you as Shreya, but they know you as Radha Rama. So I've been going back and forth to Bombay and everybody has been appreciating like, wow. So yeah, like to answer your question, it's been phenomenal.
Yeah, but tell me this, I always find it very fascinating because at least people who know you as the VJ know your personality, like a fun, happy, positive kind of a person, right? How was it that when it comes to movies and the roles that you've got, you've just done something very, very different from your actual personality? How did it start and how did that become your brand?
See, Vishal, I think in a way I started a trend back in the day, and I'm talking about maybe a little more than 20 years ago. I did a film called Black with Mammootty with Ranjit as the director, and he also saw me from SS Music and offered me that role. And if you see that role, it's a simple village kind of a role. Sans makeup and cotton sari and all of that, and I did this back in the day, and I did Veyil followed by Kanjivaram, and only after that came a film like Thimuru, which was maybe similar to what I am. But yeah, I think I want to do something different. Like I want to explore new roles and I want to explore something that as a human being, for me, it's challenging. If you give me something that is similar to my body language and what I like, then it gets a little boring for me as an actor. And when I get bored, I can't perform. So that spark and that fire needs to be kind of burning really big for me to get excited. So yeah, for me, I want to do these. I'm hungry to doing something exciting. And the thing is, there is no trial and error for me. So a lot of people say, we'll keep doing till we get that, right? I will not keep doing. Unless I get what I want and a story that I want to tell, I'd rather be jobless. I do not want to be a part of a film just because for me to be in the reckoning. You know? I'd rather sit back and enjoy, because today I might have done about 7-8 films, but I'm just very proud of those 7-8 films. You know, each one for me in my head is a masterpiece.
And so distinct, each movie.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, that way I feel I'm ready to doing films that I want to say in terms of storytelling. I'm very confident that whatever I do right now is a story that I want to tell. And I don't mind putting things together to tell those stories. So if I don't get those stories, because people don't perceive me in that way, it's fine. But I am okay to put things together to tell a particular story.
Correct.
Yeah.
No, but when you talk about this point about no trial and error, does that mean that by the time you reach the sets that you're 100% confident, 100% in it?
Yeah.
There are no doubts after you reach the sets after that?
Yeah, because it can be the biggest of filmmakers, even like a Prashanth Neel. I grilled him. He must have thought, where have I got myself landed into?
Anybody would have wanted that character, right?
Anybody could have wanted, and I grilled him means I grilled him like every day I saw him, I grilled him. I had to keep reinforcing the fact that you can have your Prabhas and Prithvi, but you have me as well.
I'm equally important.
I'm equally important, if not more.
Yeah.
So I keep telling him, you like my character more than theirs, no? But I think we as women, as actors, actresses, we need to ask these pertaining questions.
Yeah.
You know, we need to ask, and because I grilled him so much, I think, okay, let me just give her what she wants so she'll get off my head. But what am I saying? Like, what are the dialogues? Where do I feature in your scene? When do I come? What? I think these are very pertaining questions as an intelligent thinking actor you need to ask.
Yeah. Which people don't ask.
People don't ask. They're happy you have a big hero, big director, big setup. I'll come and perform. No. And I think only when you do this, you'll see the difference.
Yeah.
Right? Be it a small setup or a big setup. Pertaining questions need to be asked to the filmmaker. And I think I was very particular. So when I went on set, I needed to know what I was going to talk. And Prashanth has a habit of writing dialogues on the set. That was the worst. I wanted to murder him every time he does that. But I would take my own sweet time. I will register it, no prompting, because I feel you have to be that character. And like how back in the day, I think in Malayalam cinema, and you know, we are learning now from them, it is, you can't come and try and be another person there. You have to be that character. You have to go into that character, and only then will I feel, when as an audience, it's realistic. Right?
Yeah.
So I feel you have to go very prepared. I go into the character. So there are a few things which I do to kind of get myself prepped up. So one of the odd things is I work out. For me,
Why?
Because see, for me, being a sports person, I don't see fitness as to be thin of.
Yeah, of course.
I don't use that. It is a very mental game. So the moment I feel strong in my core, mentally I kind of feel very, very powerful. When I know I am strong,
Yeah.
you know, when
I
I
get it, yeah.
when I touch my stomach like this, okay, I'm feeling
Strong,
strong.
yeah.
Immediately it sends a sensor to my head saying that I'm powerful. So when I walked into the sets of Kansar, for me it was like I'm invincible. Nobody can come. It can be whoever, the best of directors, the best of actors. For me, I was the queen. I walked in as Radha Rama and I owned it. I don't know how it was translated like that, but my mood was like that. And I think it's so important to get into that.
So even when you're working out, you're just kind of internalizing or thinking about that character, or is it just totally separate?
Separate.
Okay.
I'm just trying to get strong mentally. And then I start embedding the dialogues, what I'm wearing, everything. This whole process takes about 4 hours to get ready.
Each day?
Each day.
My God, okay.
So if I know I'm going to be on sets at 6 in the morning, my day starts at 2:33 in the morning. First and
But I
foremost.
follow you on Instagram. You're working out anyway. So what is the difference between working out for a movie and working out just for life?
Because see, I anyway do that, right?
Yeah.
So it's no big difference. But for me, it is, I need to also work out, because see, if most people, which you're taking a 6 a.m. flight, you're not going to get up
Yeah.
at 3 o'clock and work out.
But you do that.
I do that. For me, it sets the tone. So that is discipline, you know. And I think that is why we look up to people like Virat Kohli and MS Dhoni, because of their fitness.
Yeah.
It's a mental game. It's not about how fast you move. That is the secondary thing that happens. But it's also a mental game. If you talk to any of the sports people, they will tell you this.
Yeah.
So this is the way I prepare for a role. It can be the smallest, the biggest, anything. Even for Vasanta Balan's show,
Yeah.
I wore sari and it didn't require any kind of mental. But for me, again, it's not in the line of who I am, right? So I had to be very soft, I had to be demure, I have to become a different person. And for me, he had to kept telling me, kannu romba strong ah irukuduma, kannu camera kulla paakadinga, kannu keela you know, look down, and shoulders are too broad, can you soften it? The takes were not for bad acting. He would keep saying this, only cut, because he felt body language had to be right for Kotravai, the character that I play. So yeah, so whichever character I take, this kind of a thing goes in.
But has this toughness kind of helped you outside movies also? Because you're operating at the kind of mindset of like a army officer almost, right?
Yeah.
So when things don't go well in like regular life or like outside cinema, even at that time, do you kind of feel this kind of toughness coming up?
Absolutely. It sets you to take care of this world. Anybody, anything that throws anything at you, you're able to withstand that. It is like an armor to yourself. So nobody can put you down. Nobody can push you away from what you believe in. So for me, this mental makeup is very, very important, and it comes from the sporting background. So I'm like, see, I'm only 7, 8 films. I have not even counted how many films I've done. But I think I'm the best.
Yeah, of course.
You know,
it comes across. Right?
Yeah, and I don't care. Like, you put me against anybody, anything. I think I'm the best. I'm bloody good. If I have to reiterate, I'm bloody good at what I do. So for me, it is that confidence that I have. So if you ask me, do you have times where you're not confident? Of course, yes. Many times, maybe every day. Even on the sets of Salaar, I was very underconfident. And then I had to go and have this chat with Prashanth and, you know, tell him like, listen, you are irritating me. You're giving me these dialogues that I cannot talk. You have to figure out. He's like, and he would always say, Shreya, you can do it. What is wrong with you? Just do it. You can do it. If you can't, who can? So having a very confident and a secure man, elevating a woman on set is the new age forward, I feel, you know, so yeah.
But tell me about this. Like you said, you probably did, I think Black was in 2005. It's almost 20 years since you did that. And you've done a movie every 2.5 years. It's almost like choosing like a degree course or something like that. So what is that period like when, okay, obviously you must be listening to a lot of scripts and reading a lot of scripts, but then that phase that you take to say yes, is it like really complicated? Are you like thinking about it 100 times, or you just kind of go with your gut?
So my first instinct is no. I always say no. So even when Pushkar and Gayatri brought Sulal to me, I said no to them, poor things, 1,000,000 times.
Before listening to it?
I heard it.
I
heard it, and then I said, no, I don't think I can do it. I said no. They're like, I don't understand. For what are you saying no?
Yeah, it's a good character.
The character is brilliant. Why would you say no? Then there's the process of convincing me. It is not that I want to say no. It is, I'm not sure. Because for me, once I'm in the character, Vishal, I will lose an arm and a leg. Blood, sweat, tears. Nothing else matters around me. It is only that character. So even Regina, I lived her. For me, losing a son, for me, was a personal loss. For me, I gave it my all. Every living cell in my body, I gave it to that character. So if I have to keep churning out and doing films very regularly, that kind of performance or that kind of commitment wouldn't be there.
You'll probably become mechanical.
Yeah. And I don't know also, to be honest, I don't know any other kind of acting. People kind of get that kind of method acting. I don't know that. The only way I know is to be real. And for me, it is, I'll have to do something very seldom to kind of get that realness there.
So, but how long does this phase take? Does it take months sometimes?
Yeah, and I'm very particular because, see, I'm not, what am I here for? I'm here to tell a particular story. I'm here because I have the passion to perform. I am not here for the money or the fame or to be in the reckoning. I'm okay.
But how did you have that at that time? Now, of course, you know the industry, you know what's giving you happiness and joy. So you're just chasing that. But 20 years ago, when everybody in your position is probably, oh, I want to act with this superstar, I want to act with that superstar, I want to do a Hindi movie with this superstar. When that's the logic, how did you just completely not think about that and just be your own self? It's not an easy thing.
Yeah, because I didn't want to run around trees. I didn't want to do that because I felt it was very silly for me. And also, I don't know, I felt very odd doing that. And I think the way I was brought up with very strong women in my family, for me it was like, why should men have all the fun? So I didn't want to be a part of looking like one tiny little miniature character in a very big commercial movie. It didn't make sense then to me. It doesn't make sense to me now either.
Yeah.
So yeah, thankfully I just had it in me that I wanted to do something different all the time. And I think I wanted to do it my way.
Exactly, yeah.
Like even back then, I did Black as my first movie because it was so conventionally different.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated the fact that Ranjit chose me after seeing me wearing tiny skirts and all of that on SS Music.
Yeah.
He chose me to doing a role like that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But tell me this thing. Even though you're not chasing that whole thing, you never chase that whole thing where you want to be that that heroine in a superstar movie, all those kinds of things. But have you ever felt that right now, like the 2010s, 2020s, is a better time for the kind of films that you've always wanted to do?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that is why when somebody said, when Sulul released and Salaar released, they're like, how did you ever plan this? Because what a turnaround, because this is the time to be here in cinema. I mean, it's a great time. Because see, I'm not too young, so I can't play your bubbly young
but you don't
heroine.
care for that anyway.
And nor can I'm not too old to play one of those ancient auntie roles as well.
Mother,
so yeah, but I'm somewhere in between all of this, and I think there is nobody in the space. It is a very difficult journey and a difficult path to carve, but I'm here.
Yeah.
Right? I'm here and I'm willing to carve that, willing to take the time and be patient at it. I think very important is to be patient and carve that niche. And I think Tabu had done it earlier.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah.
And till today, like, we can sit, you and I can sit for hours together and talk about her filmography. Because we'll have so much to talk about it. And she also did it at a time when nobody did it.
Nobody is doing it, yeah.
Right?
Bull and all that, those kind of dark, grey characters, yeah.
And she doesn't go through the regular format.
Yeah.
Like today when people see me in Thalaimai Seyalagam, they say that you remind me of Smita Patil.
Wow. Yeah.
Like, they say like, she also didn't do much in terms of performance.
Yeah.
She just comes and her presence is all that. She says a lot through her eyes, a lot through her body language, and that's all that she does. So I feel like we're bringing back that era from back in the day, but it's going to be a difficult journey.
So have you kind of felt that you're a little ahead of your time with your taste and the kind of movies that you wanted to do and be a part of? Did you feel like for about 10 or 15 years, it's just not exciting, the things that are coming your way, the movies that you're probably seeing is also not your zone? Have you felt that?
Oh, I find it even right now, even I feel it right now. Like I said, I get bored. And when I get bored, I can't perform. So I really have to like the director, I have to like the story, I have to like the whole setup for me to bring out that extra element out, right? So I think that boredom had kind of set in, and that's why I was not getting the kind of roles that I wanted to.
What years were these? 2010s?
Yeah, after Thimuru.
After Thimuru.
Yeah, so I mean, I did the unthinkable. I decided, okay, let me just get married. Because I was like very satisfied with Thimuru. I'm like, I did something that nobody can do. So till today we are sitting and people are making memes out of that film, and it's still spoken about. So I like to do iconic roles. I don't know about films because that's not in my hands. But I like to do iconic roles where tomorrow, 10, 15 years down the line, somebody will talk about it. It can affect one person. It can... something good should come out of a role. It's not for me personally, but for people watching it. Like a lot of people after watching Thimuru today, that is 17 years hence, say that, we rather like to be with girls who are those rugged girls than to be with these sweet girls. The men say that. The women say that, you gave us a voice. That women can be like this and get what she wants as well. Badass. And be okay with being a badass. Then again, I did my first Tamil movie was Thimuru, which was an antagonist. And I knew that will be the start and end with it.
No, but then even it's so interesting, right? You talk to most actors and all that. You very rarely say that the kind of actors that they look forward to, they look up to is like Smita Patil and Tabu. You know? So I want to know, like, what are the kind of movies that attracted to you, not as a performer, but as a viewer, for you to get into that space, to feel that, okay, that's the kind of actor I want to be? Because it's very confusing, you know, in the start of your career to kind of plan, like, okay, these are the kind of roles you want to do. But Tabu, it's like an amazing inspiration to have. Right?
Yeah.
So how do you think you got that?
But you know, Vishal, sticking with the subject of Tabu, I mean, I really look up to her. Today, I got a film in Telugu because it was written for her. Her name was written on the script, on my character. And I got that particular role. I don't want to mention which movie, but I got that particular film saying that, you know,
it was for Tabu.
It was for Tabu, but we wanted you, a younger version, to do it. So for me, I feel that is the biggest achievement, right? And how I got into this is, I think, just everybody would tell me, you know, you're dark, you're so unconventional, you don't look
unconventionally good looking or something like that.
Yeah. They would use terms like, one was dark, brown skin is the new term today, but back in the day was dark, like black beauty.
Yeah, in those snippets and all
that. Black beauty. Yeah. So that was one, the color. Then the second was that, do we define her as good looking or hot, or what is she? So they would not say, look at you and say, oh my God, you're so beautiful. That would never happen. So then the more refined people would say, you have the very Dravidian looking face. I even still remember Priyadarshan and Ranjit and all saying that she looks like somebody who's back in the day, like Dravidian looking, you know. So all this, when all this was coming, I knew that taking the regular path was not going to be possible. I had to take a very unconventional route. And even just being on TV and saying crap, talking Tamil that nobody understood the Tamil, but I believe the Tamil I spoke was the best Tamil.
But it's crazy fun.
Yeah, I would say rubbish. I would shout at the person who's calling me also. So there itself, it was like you're doing something unconventional. Because I feel like everybody is watching some boring, mundane rubbish. We all have to do something real, right? So I think that came across even then. And I remember,
real era.
I remember when watching a lot of Shabana Azmi's films. You know, I don't remember that one film that I watched a million times. I don't remember. But I remember in the DVD watching it over and over and over again. And that's where I got inspiration actually from that Shabana Azmi film, where you can look, act and be convincing without being too fancy. No makeup, no great clothes, nothing. And how you can emote and just convey everything through your eyes. And Priyadarshan taught me that. It was he who actually changed my visual thinking. When I did Kanjivaram with him.
No, but even that is such a fascinating decision, right? At that time, he's the most commercial director. He's making his first hardcore art movie. And then you decide to do that. No, at a time like that, 20 years ago.
And I did that for no money. I did that film completely for free. Because for me, it's like a big deal. I want to work with Priyadarshan. He's a big director. And there also, I was a nobody. Nobody meaning nobody. Even there I would eat his head. I was like, you are Prakash Raj. I don't care.
This is why you're talking to Priyadarshan sir at that time.
I didn't care. Like, he was the topmost. He was like, he had done like Kala Pani and everything just then. Virasat and all that. I was like, no, I don't care who your Prakash Raj is. I want my role to be good. I want this, I want that. So I still remember when they all won the national award. I remember him calling me at 8 in the night and telling me, Shreya, I'm sorry that you didn't win. The film won, I think 3-4, Prakash Raj won and all of that. He said, I'm really sorry, but you must understand that everybody loved your performance in that. It could have been a small role, but everybody loved your performance. So Vishal, that was for me the biggest takeaway, that you can do a small role, you can do anything with conviction, people will talk about it, you know. So when Prashanth told me that, I knew there was a heroine, I knew there was an actor, hero like Prabhas, then there was Prithviraj, and then you have an ensemble. But I was very confident that you give me 10 lines, I will make it my own. I will make people sit up and watch me. Is that only that will come with when you have conviction.
And you mentioned something very interesting about the kind of women that you've seen in your family, right? And you mentioned that they're very strong and all that. How does that kind of contribute to making you this person?
It has everything to do with it. Because my parents are so critical. Like the show was released today, and I'm literally begging them to watch it. I'm like, can you please watch and tell me what it is? Because they are big fans of Smita Patil and Shabana Azmi, and they're like that kind of films, right? Okay. So for me to convince them, and they're so critical, so I feel like it comes from that era. Like my grandmother was like in royalty. She thought she was royalty and she came from royalty. Her stance, the way she walked and the way she wore her beautiful chiffon saris, and the way her English was so articulate and everything. So for me is like, I have to match up to them. And they were like people who have watched these kind of films. And I don't think they would have appreciated me if I had gone and run around trees and worn a chiffon sari and tried to look very pretty. It's not in my system. So.
Plus you're asking them to watch one thing every 3 years. What is the big deal?
What to do now?
Yeah.
But I always believe in, see, today you and I are talking because there is something to talk about, right? It could be 20 years ago, but there is something of substance to talk about. And I truly believe in, you have to churn out only things with substance. There's so many people, there's so many actors, so many great roles, so many movies. Where are we going to sit and remember anything? But today people are remembering Kanjivaram, people are remembering Ishwari and Thimuru. Why? It's because you've put in that kind of hard work and you've had conviction to play these roles.
Yeah. And I find this very interesting because, let's say there was a part of you that told you that you should do a film like Kanchivaram or Black or, Thimuru at that time. It's so like, nobody thought like that at that time, right? And even if you look at the 2020s, you're one of the first people in that top league to get into the OTT space.
Yeah.
So many people have so many issues with that idea. No? Okay, I am a movie actress, or I'm a movie actor, how do I come down to the small screen, or how do I go up to an OTT space? There's no logic at that time.
Correct.
But you still didn't care.
See, I was in my 30s and Pushkar and Gayatri said, you're going to have a grown-up son.
Yeah.
For a second, I was like, I'm too cool to have a son, and that too such a big son. I'm too cool. For me, it was not anything else what people would perceive me. I was like, I'm too cool. Yeah. Why will I have a grown-up son? What the hell will I do? Apart from that thought, for me, it was like, I'm a very secure actor. I'm not here to prove that I'm young, able to anybody. I'm ready to play even a grandmother. It doesn't matter. So I think these kind of stereotypes needs to be broken. With Regina, again, I was playing a mother of a grown-up boy, not a tiny boy, a grown-up boy. Did I fear that after this I wouldn't get roles? No, I don't care.
Correct, yeah.
And again, the other thing was, it's an ensemble cast.
Yeah.
You were not the only one there. Coming back after such a long time, people would thought, you'll be worried. No. See, you have to break these barriers, right? Even when I did Salaar, I had the same thing. I didn't care. Now I'm doing another film called OG with Pawan Kalyan sir. And again, it has an ensemble cast. It doesn't matter. And this time the cast is solid. We have Arjun Das, we have Prakash Raj, we have Imran Hashmi. And I remember Imran, there's a big sequence with Imran Hashmi, and I remember him telling me, where do you get this confidence from? You're saying you have not acted for 16 years, you're coming in, you're killing the scene. I have done movies every 6 months and you are giving me a run for my money. Like, what is up with you? It's just that your conviction of playing that role.
And the discipline, I'm sure.
Discipline, but also the conviction, because there I feel invincible. I'm coming and I'm playing this character as real as I can. So I don't care whether you are a star, who you are, what you are, but I am playing this particular character of Geeta. So I give it my all. So when I'm being real, you can't fault me.
Correct, yeah. So, but even when we talk about Thalaimai Seyalagam, it's not a simple character. Like if you actually have to write a brief about that character, it's probably 2-3 pages long, because you kind of understand the motivation. I haven't finished the show yet, so I'm not yet, I can't say too much about the character, but it's not an easy character to figure out. Of course, when you see it on screen, it's only with each episode that you the character starts growing on you and stuff like that. Have you at least noticed yourself being drawn to people that are not easy to figure out?
I like those complexities. I like it to be difficult to crack. Because I think the more the characters are layered, for the audiences, it's more interesting.
Yeah.
Audiences also come second. As an actor, only if I'm convinced, I can convince you, right? Yeah. So for me also, I like it to be complex. I like it to have those layers. And then as an actor, I like to break those layers down. You know, I know it sounds a little intimidating, but unless those, see, like as human beings, are we one shade? No, right? We have so many shades. And unless I get to know who the real Vishal is, I will not know you, right?
Correct.
And so like that, the character Kotravai also, she looks very linear. She looks like a very simple, plain Jane, innocent, but she's nothing but that. As you keep going in the show towards the end, she is a badass. And what kind of a badass, only when you watch the show, you'll realize that she's fooled the entire system. But then it's too late. So she's played this beautiful cat and mouse game till the very end. And I like that because it keeps the audience on the edge of the seat to understand who this girl is, who this woman is, right? So with all my characters, I like to have that suspense of being complexed.
But at least in that phase, when, like you said, you're with a character, and by the time you reach the set, you're completely convinced of those characters. How is it to live with you when you're playing all these women?
I think every actor, like you just told me, you interviewed Fahad and came. I don't know him, but I truly believe, seeing his films, that he has some kind of eccentricities in him. I think,
like in real life?
In real life. I think all actors have. And if they say they don't, then they're lying. Because you got to have that side to you. Otherwise, you can't be an actor.
Oh, wonderful point. Yeah.
You cannot be. And I'll tell you from my very little experience I have and my interaction with the actors or the people I know, they all are little warped in their head, right? And you have to be that to be an actor. And they will be lying if they say they're not. See, like an Avesham, right? He has something of that in him as in reality, that I don't think that you can just come in front of the camera and even whatever brilliant actor you are, I don't think you can come and deliver that kind of performance. You have to have that little bit in you.
Somewhere, you know, there is
like Heath Ledger in Joker was my biggest point of reference for Salaar. The interval scene, I wanted to do that. That even that that laugh and all that clapping and all that. For me, Heath Ledger, every time, couple of hours a day, I would watch it on YouTube before I go on set. You're trying to tell me he is not eccentric and he came and just gave that performance because he's a good actor? No. I think every actor has that in them. And I would also like to say that I have that in me. So for me, it is very difficult to get out. When I was Radha Rama, for me it was, people think, yeah, she's a good actor, she came, performed and went. No, it's not as simple as what it is. Even when getting out, it took me time. And I didn't want to get out of it.
So what is that process like? Are you purposely doing other activities, trying to just completely forget that movie?
No, I can't. It's not possible. And for me, Salaar was even more challenging because it was spanned over 2 years.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
It is not that you're continuously doing it for 30, 40 days. It is like you're doing it for a couple of days, then you have a break and you go back, and it's like this for the next 2 years. So it's tough.
What's your family saying? Are you always like
that? They were just waiting for the damn movie to release. They're like, just please release this movie and be done with it. You know. But there's some characters which are easier, like the one I'm playing with OG. I know like 10 days before I get into it.
Okay.
That amount is enough for that character. But for Radha Rama, because it was more difficult because it was coming back, and I had put in a lot of pressure on myself. I want to do it. I have to make it work. Like there was no what if it didn't work. A lot of people ask me, what if Radha Rama didn't work? There was no choice of that. There was no choice. It had to work. You know. So so it has to kind of, you have to give in yourself and a little more to make your character believable.
How much of the look of that character do you get into? Is it something that you just kind of leave to the director and the costume department, or are you really?
No, I leave it to the director, but I believed in one thing is, if you're not comfortable, you're not comfortable. Because when I'm going there, I don't have to worry about what I'm wearing or how I look, and everything it has to blend in with me. So I have to be very comfortable with what I'm wearing, and because then what happens is it's easier to be the character. So even the dialogues, I always like to have dialogues that is easily spoken. Even in Thalaimai Seyalagam, my Tamil is very bad. Like I said, no, I'll talk the Tamil I like to talk. Some people say, "Ninga pesra Tamil, auto rickshaw driver pesra Tamil."
But how did you get that Tamil? It is so funny back in the day.
Yeah.
How did you get that Tamil?
Because my driver, he was the only one who used to talk to me in Tamil. Till today, he's there. His name is Santanam. I said, "Ellarme thitranga, neenga kattu kudutha Tamil da na pesra ippo." So he's like, "Illa ma, adu correct Tamil da." So I was like, I was like, okay. So. But that's a Tamil he taught me. At home, we never used to speak in Tamil. So he's the guy who used to talk to me and teach me the Tamil. So I've got the Tamil. But I always believe in getting the language right. I may not dub for myself, but I believe in, I don't like prompting. It loses my train of thought. I like to know the language, and I'll talk in the Telugu, Tamil, I know. It's okay. If everybody laughs, I'll let them laugh. But I will talk in my Tamil. But I like to go prepared. I like to go with a language that, it's easy for me. Like, in Salaar, they were giving me these lines that didn't make sense to me. I'm a Telugu girl. I know Telugu, but this Telugu was of a different this thing. So for me, it was difficult. But then I realized that you have to go very confident. You have to go very, that you need to know all aspects, be it your costumes, be it your dialogues, be it the way you feel. So I tell people, please don't irritate me. Like I switch off my phone, and I know it seems a very tedious task, but this is the only way I know. Because I've not done too many films. For me, this is the only route I know to take.
But at least from the outside, because I'm pretty certain from these conversations that I know that you don't care about what people think. But then what do you think is their perception of you? Do you think that they think, oh, she's very tough to work with, or she's very strong, so we have to be super prepared when we go to her? Are they a little intimidated by you when they come to pitch scripts to you? What is the reverse of this, the outside effect?
Yeah, they are intimidated, but they understand that I'm not being unrealistic. If to say so, I'm really a very sweet, easy person, very nice human being, very complete empath. But the thing is, there is, unfortunately, Vishal, in our society, we are made to be like this, to protect ourselves, right? And this was one of the lessons I taught myself back in the day. That women need to guard themselves. We need to have this armor around, because the moment you are easy going, and people just take you for a ride, right? So for us in this society, this industry, we need to have this to protect ourselves. Yes, we need to. Some people don't. I choose to do it. Like all my co-stars, even now in this Vasantha Balan show, they were like, "So how was the interaction with Shreya? Like, she talk?" She's like, "No." She never opens her mouth. When she comes on set, she's like some Hitler. She just, either in her lines, or she's talking to the director, or she's performing. She's not even talking to her staff, nobody. There's nothing that she's doing. She's not even on the phone. She's only in the character. Because I just feel like, but when I'm with interviews with them and whatever, we are giggling, laughing, and we are chilling like as if we've known each other for 100 years. But see, when you're at work, what am I there for? Have I come there to make best friends? No. I'm here for work. So I will only stick to that. Because I don't like to cut my train of thought. I'm in the character. I don't like to slip out. I like to be in it. And when it's cut and when we are done for the day, then it's okay. But being in the character is most important for me.
But at least somewhere when you kind of look back, when I'm also trying to think, is it because, okay, like all those like comments that you would have heard, like you said, they used to just dismiss you saying dark and all those kinds of things at that time. Are some of those faces the reason why you had to become like this tough person, or were you fundamentally like this, even in school and stuff?
I would say so, because at a very early stage, I wanted to be somebody. I wanted to do something. And I started athletics at a very young age when I was in, I think, the 3rd or 4th grade. And when I got into athletics, I knew that I wanted to win. The mode of winning became very important. Because when you're in athletics, you know, your team relies on you. You have a house, you know, you have these colored houses.
And
that spirit. And you know, the end of that sporting year, you can win a rolling shield. And this, and you have to work through the year to get that rolling shield. So that started, it was embedded in me that from a very early age that I had to win. I had to be somebody. So that sporting thing started at a very early stage of wanting to win.
That's a nice way to kind of look at you also. You're more a sports person than an actress even today, probably. No? The way you approach the movie, the discipline, the kind of toughness, everything comes from sports rather than cinema as an art form.
For me, sports is the fundamental. If you ask me what is your fundamental thing, it's sports. And everything I derive is out of that. The mental makeup that you have of what a cricketer or any of the athlete has, that's the same mental makeup what I try to get.
And finally, like, how excited or like, what are your thoughts about at some point getting back into that Salaar universe and that for the sequel? Is it going to be just as difficult to get back into that character because it took so much time for the first movie, or is it going to be a little easier this time?
I think it'll be a little easier because we know the template, we know everything what's going to happen, we know how she's going to turn, and I think more than anybody else, I'm so excited because she's going to take revenge now. And like, you know, everybody was like, Katti mattam edukala. You know, like everything you were just there but didn't do anything. Why? So I'm like, wait.
Everything else except erupt.
Exactly. And I'm like, I'm coming back with all arms and guns. Just wait. But I think the second part is where that real game is going to begin. And I think as a filmmaker, Prashanth is going to be in his real element in part 2. Be it Prabhas, be it Prithvi, be it anybody, all of us are going to be in our element. The actual unleashing will happen in part 2.
Of course, looking forward, Shreya.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Been a fan of yours for so long.
Thanks so much, Vishal. Such a pleasure talking to you because sometimes having real conversations, like we're talking about having real conversations, it just doesn't happen, you know. Everything is about a particular project and we surround that, but you know, having real conversation with real people is very seldom. But thank you so much, Vishal.
I'm really looking forward to what you're going to choose because somewhere, you know, the industry is also going to go there 20 years later.
Yeah.